Water. We all need it, but which one of these is the actual best way to carry it? So a couple weeks ago, I did a video on this thing, the 8-gallon water tank from Midnight Forest. That video got a lot of engagement, so I figured let's just do a follow-up video comparing all the different ways I've carried water to camp before. Now, if you're anything like me and you obsess about organization and streamlining your camping process, then you have undoubtedly thought about this way more than you should have. Now, I haven't tried every single piece of gear for carrying water. However, these are kind of the most common ones that I've seen people use, so doing a comparison might help you figure out which one is actually right for you. And honestly, it might not be one and done. It might be a combination of different stuff, which is what I do. So when it comes to water, I don't just put water inside a container and bring it to camp. I like to systemize it and basically separate it into two different categories, potable and non-potable. Potable, obviously, water that we're drinking when we're at camp, and then non-potable is the stuff that we use for regular duties like washing dishes or taking showers. I said duties, which I guess is what we're using the water for sometimes. And I know there are people who do like a one and done system. For example, the LifeWater water can. I think that's a great product. It's just a container that has a filter built in. You can take it with you and fill it up at a stream, and the filter will take out all the impurities and you can drink it. But that's not me. I like to fill up my non-potable container with the garden hose we have here at home, and my potable container, I fill it up with filtered water from the fridge. I just don't feel comfortable filtering out my own water from a stream, just in case. What if my filter was defective and it didn't really filter out all the impurities and now I'm sick? I mean, that might be fine for you. I just get paranoid about stuff like that. But basically, after I figured out the containers that I'm going to use for the potable and non-potable stuff, the next thing I have to figure out is how to get that water out. I mean, it could be as simple as just tipping it and pouring it into a cup or whatever you need it for, but I also have to find a way to spray that water either by pressurizing it or using an electric pump to be able to wash dishes and take showers. So knowing the containers I'm going to use to carry that water, and then a way to get that water out of those containers, let me show you the different products I've used in the past and what I am using now. So way before I knew anything about overlanding, this is what we used. This is the Stanley Water Jug, and it's a really simple thing. It's just you fill it up with water and it's gravity fed through this little spout right here. It doesn't carry a lot. I believe it's like 1.5 gallons or something. But at the time, we were just going camping to your local campsites, and I didn't need to bring non-potable with me because there usually is like water at that campsite for washing dishes. This was just for drinking, and we would only be there for like a weekend, and it was enough for all of us. We would just, put out the edge of a table and pour our water through there. It's still a great piece of gear. We actually still use it now. We take it on picnics or whenever we have parties on the patio. We fill this up with water for anyone that wants a drink, because we can always refill it right back up in our kitchen. But eventually we started going off-road, off-grid, and I knew that those campsites are not gonna have non-potable water for us to wash dishes with, and this was just not gonna be enough to give us water to drink, but also to wash our dishes and things like that. And that's when I added this to our gear. This is a Scepter water tank. This is the old school way of carrying water. It's just a tank with a cap. When I first started this channel, I did a whole DIY on this, on adding the hose and a pressurizing system here so we can add air to it, and it worked great that way. As far as how to carry it, I mean, you can just put this in your trunk, or how usually what other people do is they have like a carrier for this on their rear bumper. But combine this with this, and this was my water system for about a year before I switched out. And that's when I switched over to Rotopax. Rotopax is probably like the most popular one in the overland and off-road community, just because they have a really cool way of mounting. You mount it through like these little slots and you twist it and it stays really close, which is why you'll see a lot of people showing these off on the outside of their vehicle. I personally don't want to mount my water outside of the vehicle. I mean, I get why people do it because it's accessible, you don't have to go in the vehicle, but for me, I don't want to do that because having this outside in the Florida sun, by the time you get your water, it's going to be hot, or if you're winter camping, it's going to be frozen. So I like to try to keep it in a controlled climate environment. This is inside the camper at all times so that I know that the water is going to stay basically room temperature. It's slim, it's compact, and you can buy a few of these, and some of them are lockable. You can kind of join them together, or you can stack one on top of the other. This is like really popular, which is why I still use this now. I actually have two sizes. I have this one, which is the 2-gallon, and then I have the 1-gallon version here, and depending on how long my trip is or who I'm gonna be with, that helps me determine which one I'm bringing. Getting water out of this is also really simple. It's just a little nozzle here. It comes out like that, and then you close this back up like this, and then you basically tip your water. It's just kind of a pain to do it that way because then I have to take it off the mount every single time just to pour water, and that's when I got in touch with Lone Rock Concepts. Lone Rock Concepts sent me this, and this has been so awesome. It's just an electric pump. This can last you like a good, I don't know, month before it actually dies out, or while you're driving, just keep it charged up. But it's really simple because it's just a power button here. Press that, water will start to come out, and it just basically fits into any Rotopax that you have. They have different kits. They have them for the Scepter too if you want that. Usually the way I do my system for drinking, I like cold water. This is the water bottle, my own personal water bottle that I carry with me at all times every single day, whether I'm camping or not. It's thermally insulated, keeps my water cold. This one gets filled up at home before we leave for camp, and this gets thrown into the fridge so that by the time I get to camp, this is already cold. This also gets filled up at home, and it just stays inside the camper, room temperature water. When I finished whatever's in here, then I go to the fridge, take this out, pour some in here. This now needs to be refilled. I refill it with this and put it right back in the fridge. By the time this is done, this is now cold, and we still have water in here. Yes, that's how much I like my cold water, and that's better than me stocking my fridge with water bottles because that's a lot of plastic waste. Now on the non-potable side, that's when I traded the Scepter tank for this. This is the Waterport day tank. Again, another piece of gear that's pretty popular with overlanders. Worked out well for me for many years. I had this mounted to the outside of the vehicle because that I'm not drinking, and it's easy for me to get the water from there to wash my dishes. They have different sizes. This is the day tank, which has about 4 gallons. They have like a longer, they call it the weekender tank, which is about 8 gallons. And then they have a slimmer new version now called the Overland version, and that one carries about 5 gallons. Mounting is pretty good. You get these like mounts like this, and then the other side you put wherever you want, like on a roof rack or on a molly panel, and it kind of just slides together. I will say that the only thing that I didn't like is that it had that tendency to kind of jiggle, and so you would have to put like some sort of lock or maybe a screw into the hole to hold the mount to this together and keep it secure and tight. Without it, if you just kind of drop it in like this, it has that tendency to kind of bang up against each other. But if you put in like a bolt, it holds it together and it won't fly off that mount. Also, I like that it has ways of pressurizing. You have a valve here that you can attach like like a regular air compressor. I even DIY'd something like this about a month ago. You can go check that out. I would just pressurize it with the little last fit air pump that I had, and you just turn it on and it would pressurize this thing. In a pinch though, if you don't want to pressurize it with air that way, it has a pump. It is a pain in the butt to sit there and pump it, but that at least is self-contained in this system versus the other ones. I'm still using this. This is still coming with me when we go, like when we do ground camping. I can't bring my camper with me. We gotta camp in a tent, and I can just bring this. You can fill it up one of two ways. You can open this whole thing up. This is the pump. And fill it up through there. Or you can take the nozzle that Waterport gives you, hook it up to a hose, you put it in there, and then it will stop as soon as this thing is filled. But it fills it up much faster than you holding this underneath like a garden hose and waiting for this to fill up. But as you guys know, this is what I have switched to now. Having a camper affords me the opportunity to carry more non-potable water, because the issue I had with the Waterport, as great as it worked, it just wasn't enough. This is the Midnight Forest 8-gallon tank. Tons of features on this thing, and now that I have a camper, I can put this inside. For 8 gallons, you're getting something that's super slim and basically kind of out of the way. As far as mounting, you have these two brackets right here. You get the two other brackets that hold it in place, and you just slide, and it is tight. In fact, when I went to go do this video, I had to take this off of those mounts and it would barely budge. So you'll know that it's secure, it won't rattle. They also have like really cool ways of locking it, because those mounts have this little circular tube thing that you put the lock through, lock it that way, and no one will be able to steal this if you plan to mount it to the outside. For filling, there are 2 fill ports right here. You have one on the side and one here at the top to fill this up with water. And you might wonder, well, why do you need this and this? Because you can mount this vertically like this somewhere, like I do, or you can put this on a roof rack and mount it that way. If you mount it this way, then you don't have to take this off the roof rack to fill. Just open this up right here and fill it up. And what's really cool about doing it that way as well is over here, you have this little hole. Open this up and you can collect rainwater through there. So if you're out somewhere, it starts to rain while you're at camp, go ahead and open this up, let this fill with rainwater. Now you can use the rainwater for washing dishes. You have 2 nozzles on each end. You have one on this side, and then you have another one on the other side. So no matter where you might mount this in your vehicle, you can access the water through either of those. You can go from here, or you can go like right, oh man, this is so big, I have to like right there. Now for getting the water out, that's what I really love about the Midnight Forest one, in that you can buy one of their electric pump kits. There's 2 versions. There's the Rain Flux, which is what I have here, and the Rain Flare. The Rain Flare is more like, it looks like a drill that has like a battery on it and has a long nozzle at the end, and it basically sprays your water like a pressure washer. It's that strong. So if you need to like wash mud off of your vehicle, the Rain Flare version might be the one you might want. This is the Rain Flux, which is more for general use, like washing dishes, taking showers. And you also get 2 hoses with that. There's the hose that goes from the tank to the actual pump right here, and then from the pump you have this here that has the nozzle. That's 16 feet of hose. It's so long, it's like having hose in every area code. But as much as I love that, that's also the downside of it, in that you now have to bring 16 feet of hose with you along with this electric pump. But I don't have to worry about pressurizing anything with air. It's just you plug it all up, turn the power on, water comes out. The convenience of that, and the convenience of being able to have 16 feet to bring around, I think that outweighs the fact that I do have to kind of bring some extra gear with me. But this is my system now as it stands, and I feel like I have it dialed in that I'm not going to make changes to this system anymore, because I now have my Midnight Forest 8-gallon water tank for my non-potable stuff with the pump and the hoses, so I can get that water out. And then for the potable drinking water stuff, I have my Rotopax. I have the 2-gallon and 1-gallon depending on how long I'm going to be out or who I'm with, and that gets paired with the Lone Rock Concepts pump so that I can get water out really easily. And then my trusty Nalgene that I put water in, and I put this in the fridge so I have cold water at all times. And then an insulated Stanley water cup for my regular drinking for myself. I know it seems complicated and a lot of gear, but it's actually not. This is the most simplest way I've carried water so far, because it's really just potable and non-potable and the vessels that I'm going to put them in. If you can sort that, figure out how you're going to carry it and how much of it you need to carry on your trips, then you're already halfway there in figuring out your water solution. It may be this, it may not be. Maybe you don't need to overthink it like I have. It's just water. But all this talk about water, and now I feel like I have to go pee.
Does anybody even see me?